Hello, and it's the Warp Forge with another Arkham Files for you. Today we're going to the other Elite Clown for the Joker's gang, and we're going into the psychopath that we know as Asker with his rusty cleaver. So, well, basically a quick overview is he's very much the opposite of Borg, not in a negative way, but you can see why they're paired together as a pack. So, before I go into more detail, I'll go through his stats. So, his alias is Asker, his name's unknown, he's a rank henchman, and he's affiliated to the Joker gang. His strength is 4 up, his willpower is 5, his movement is 3, his attack is 3, his defense is 3, his endurance 6, and his special 3. So already, you can see little bits of differences to Borg, but for example, he's faster movement, less attack, and less endurance, but faster in movement. And special 3 is standard for everyone. So, willpower 5, that's still not too bad. 4 up strength, again, not too bad for a henchman. So, we'll go on to his weapons. He has a gun, it does a blood and stun damage, rate of fire 2, ammo 2. It is light, it is a firearm, and it's short range. So, 20 centimeters. It can be fired at rate of fire 1 against enemies that are within 5 centimeters of Asker. And it is a firearm, so always damages on a 2 up. Unless, of course, you have some sort of rule or armor that prevents or modifies that rule. For example, bulletproof vest, damage on a 4 up, etc, etc. So, we'll go through the meat knife. It does 1 blood damage. It's a melee weapon, so no rate of fire ammo. And it's sharp and tough. And again, that's actually really, really good. So, the meat knife does 1 blood damage, as I've said. We'll go into more about his role in your gang after the traits. So, his personal traits. He has Dimensional Laughter again, Distract. He has Psycho. He has Fast, which is great. And he has Bloodthirsty, Mental Disorder. So, Bloodthirsty, we'll go into that. Bloodthirsty is basically if he takes at least 1 damage in the next turn in the Raise the Plan stage, he gets a free attack action counter that has to be spent in the attack counters in the attack stat. So basically, he technically becomes willpower 6, but with 1 counter has to be in attack. This does count towards the maximum of counters that you can put in the attack stat, which is good, and also it's a bit of a 50-50, depends on the situation. Because obviously you don't really like taking damage, but getting that +1 attack counter for free, not too bad. So we've done that, now we need to go into his reputation. And funding. His reputation 38, so again not too expensive, but not too cheap. And his funding's $200, which offsets to what he is. So what's his role? Well, unlike Borg, Asker is a scalpel, even with endurance 6. His what he does is he weakens. That's his major thing. He takes willpower off like nobody's business. He can do flank maneuvers with ease. He's the guy that you hide behind a crate or in the bushes, waiting to jump out and scare people with a pistol and a rusty cleaver. Like the clown epidemic at the moment. I'm still surprised that there wasn't a massive clown uprising versus people dressed as Batman on Halloween. It's actually kind of disappointing if I'm honest, but I digress. So, when I say that he weakens willpower, his gun's a prime example of this. He fires off 2 rate of fire, so basically, unless you know that you've got an opponent's enemy henchman on endurance 4 on 4 or less, then you kind of just want to spread it out, the rate of fire between 2 different targets. Why you want to do that is because for 1 rate of fire you can potentially take off 1 point of willpower against your opponent, which is a big deal. You'll weaken your opponent for 1 willpower, depending on the situation, the board placement and the terrain in place, as well as the mission. once you start taking willpower off your opponent's models, means that they have less things to do because they can't physically do it, with the lack of counters stopping them from doing what they actually want to do. With firearm, it's a 2-up damage usually, so it should be easy to get through, and you can only fire this twice. Now the meat knife, the meat knife comes in handy with distract. You usually use distract first to weaken enemy defenses. So again, if you fire the gun, weaken the defense, weaken the willpower, then use distract on top of that to weaken the defense. Specifically, you've got a really weak model prone to being attacked by Borg or whoever else. Okay, now it's starting to fall in place, you see. So you usually do that, distract, fire the guns. If you see Borg close by, or any close combat guy, even Joker to an extent can be declared close combat depending on which Joker you go for. Target the enemy the enemy model that Asker's targeted, and you've already got easy pickings from that one model. Now the reason why I say he's more of a flank, or a model to be used in the flank or in the bushes per se, is because his movement 3 fast. Fast allows you to re-roll your movement dice. So if you spent 2 or 3 dice, you roll them, you get 111, you can re-roll them all, and then you get 666, and then he's starting to fly up. He doesn't have acrobat, so be mindful of that, but movement 3 is very big with fast. You just sprint up there, you hide in the bushes, wait for your opponent's models to come along, then you go jump out, say boo, and everything's fine with a scary distraction. So again, endurance 6 means that he can take a hit. Just don't expect him to take don't expect him to take too many, otherwise he will start dropping willpower, which means he gets less stuff to do. So that goes into his weaknesses. So his main strength is that he's a scalpel. His main weakness is that, he's a scalpel. As soon as, like Borg to an extent, although even a little bit more easier with Asker, even though he's endurance 6, he doesn't have sturdy, so that willpower can get sapped. You can get 2. You can lose 2 points. He's on 3 willpower, like Borg to an extent, but again, that can be affected by certain things. Now, he does have 1 defense against stuff like the fear toxin from Scarecrow's gang, which is Psycho, which is that his willpower's never altered, or that he doesn't suffer the effects of willpower. I will just check. Yeah, his willpower, is never altered under any circumstances except from damage accumulation. So basically, stuff like Scarecrow's scare toxin won't affect him because he's a crazy clown who wants to scare the living crap out of you with his rusty cleaver. I mean, let's be honest. If this guy was in the bushes and you spotted him in the bushes and he jumped out with a rusty cleaver and a gun, firing high up in the air, laughing maniacally, let's be honest, you'd be shitting yourself. I know I would, and I'm being honest. If there was a clown that jumped up out the bushes, laughing maniacally, I would be running straight away. Straight out of there. That is on to the train of fuck that Ville to village of nope, not that. So, anyhow, as you can see, so again, before I digress again, he is a scalpel. He can be overwhelmed, even with endurance and stuff. He can be targeted by high-profile models, and he can just be battered, swatted away. He will be given 2 victory points in that manner, and potentially more depending on the scenario you play, so be mindful of that. Have him as a flank unit, but don't have him too far away from the main group per se, because if you do that, he will be singled out and he will be targeted, even if he is hiding in them bushes. So yeah, we have that, and we have that. The meat knife is the only thing I really want to go through. The meat knife is the finishing touch. So we'll go through what Sharp and Tough does. So Sharp allows you to reroll damage rolls, which is great. For those who don't know what damage rolls are, in 40k you have to hit and to wound. It's roughly the same in Batman. You have to hit and then to damage, which is your equivalent to wound. And then you have tough. So like Borgon, his strength goes from 4 up to 3 up. So you can re-roll with 1 blood damage for each attack, so potentially 3 attacks, 3 blood damage that you can re-roll to get those blood damage for damage rolls. So much damage there. And it's on a 3 up. So it's quite unlikely you'll suffer a failure because of how good that roll is. But however, it only does 1 blood damage. So the idea is you weaken the defenses or with distract, then you send a combat beat stick in. If the target survives, wait until next turn. Put Asker, use distract again, then attack with Asker using the finishing touches, because usually with only 1 blood damage, it's intentional just to have that knife or cleaver as a way of finishing the target off. So you can literally just pop up behind a guy who's been injured, maybe with like 3 points of damage, and he's endurance 4 and he needs 1 blood damage to die, and you hit with the cleaver, then you roll to damage, you roll a 1, but then you're damaging on 3 up with sharp, so you roll the dice, you get a 6 and you kill him. So again, it just finishes off whatever, but the main thing with the meat knife is to not rely on it too much. If you over-rely on it, you are just sending what is $200 and 38 reputation to get slaughtered like cattle. Overall, you can tell why Borgon and Asker are in. Borgon's your hammer and Asker is your sickle per se. What Borgon doesn't do well, Asker does. And what Asker fails at, Borgon does well. So, would you have these in a pair? Personally, it really depends on your leader. I can imagine seeing Asker and Borgon as a pair with the Killing Joke Joker. I reckon that would be a very effective combination just due to the amount of willpower and stuff you can take out, or you can just take down and effectively paralyze without using the paralyze effect on enemy models. But stuff like not Mark Hamill's, Heath Ledger's Joker, you might want to just take one or the other, like Borgon. So you've got Heath Ledger, he sprays his automatic gun, then Borgon comes in for the finish and kill. I've done that before in games and in tournaments, and it's always worked a treat for me. So yeah, if you want them both in, have a serious consideration of who's going to be your leader and who's going to be in your list direction. Personally, I usually leave Asker out because I find him too fragile myself, but I do see, especially as the game it is now, I might start picking him up and using him a lot more often now than I did when I first started. So, all in all, Asker is still a pretty good miniature for the Joker's gang. So, thank you for watching. I know it's been a bit of a long one with me digressing a lot of the time, so I apologise for that. If you liked what I was talking about, then please comment below. I'd like to know what your Heteteks thoughts are about this mini. And if you liked what you heard and saw, then please give this video a like and subscribe if you want to see more Arkham Files as I'm going through the Joker's gang at this moment in time. Hit the notification button so that you're kept updated on my recent updates. And if you found this helpful and you've got a friend who wants to start Joker's Gang, or you want to start Joker's Gang, you want to get the name out there, then please share this video out, get the name out there. It's always very much appreciated. Thank you for watching. This is the Warp Forge signing out, and remember, keep on forging.